They say a woman's tears can water the ground until even the dead hear her pain. But what if the dead decide to answer back, not with comfort, but with marriage? In the quiet Igbo village of Oboyumius, there lived a young man named Chike. If you asked anyone in the village to describe him, they would say the same thing, fine boy, but heartless. Chike was 31, tall and strong, with skin as dark as palm oil at night and eyes that shone like firelight. He always wore his Isiagu shirt neatly pressed, and whenever he walked into the village square, women's eyes followed him like moths chasing flame. Every girl wanted Chike, and Chike wanted them too, but never for long. On Monday, he would take Ngozi to the stream. By Wednesday, he would be eating yam porridge from Kayamika's pot. By Friday, he would be whispering into Ifeoma's ears under the mango tree. But once a girl began to dream of marriage, Chike would laugh loudly and vanish. Marriage is a cage, he always said. And I am a free bird. His friends clapped for him, envying how easily he made women fall, but the elders of the village shook their heads. One evening, an old man named Papa Ebuka stopped him in the market square. His walking stick pressed into the dusty ground, and his voice shook with age. Chike, listen to me well. Every heart you break is like a debt you owe. One day, the collector will come. But Chike only laughed, waving his hand. Papa Ebuka, stop talking like those old storytellers. I am too smart for any trap. No woman can catch me. The crowd in the market murmured. Some women shook their heads. Some men whispered. But Chike walked away whistling, proud of himself. He did not know that some traps are not laid by women of flesh, but by women of the spirit. That rainy night, Chike was returning from Ifeoma's house. His shirt was half wet, his slippers splashing in the mud. The night was silent, except for the croaking of frogs. He whistled to himself, thinking of which girl he would visit next. Then he stopped. At the junction where three roads met, he saw her. A tall woman stood alone under the dim moonlight. She wore a long black wrapper that touched the ground, and a white head tie that glowed faintly. Her face was calm, almost too calm, and her lips curved in a slow smile. But it was her eyes that froze him. They shone, not with life, but with something deeper, something that felt like the shadows themselves were watching him. Then she spoke his name. Chike. The sound was soft, but it carried like thunder. Chike's heart jumped inside his chest. He looked around quickly. Nobody had followed him. No one else was on the road. Only this strange woman, smiling, standing as if she had been waiting for him all along. How do you know my name? Chike asked, trying to sound bold. But his voice cracked like dry wood. The woman tilted her head slowly. The air grew colder, and the night became too quiet, as if even the frogs were afraid to speak. She smiled wider. And then, in a voice smooth as palm wine, she whispered again, because you are the one. Chike swallowed hard. His legs felt weak, but he refused to show fear. Beautiful girl, who are you? You know my name, but I don't know yours. The woman tilted her head slowly. Her wrapper didn't move even though the wind blew. Her smile remained, and when she spoke, it was like two voices were speaking at once. I am Adis. Chike tried to laugh, but his throat was dry. Adis. I have never seen you in this village. Who are your people? Adis stepped closer. Her feet touched the wet sand, but they made no sound. She raised her hand and brushed the air gently, as if calming him. You ask too many questions. Just follow me. Her voice pulled him like a rope. Against his own mind, Chike found himself moving. He wanted to stop, but his legs refused to listen. She led him away from the main road, into a narrow bush path that no villager used at night. The trees seemed to bend as they walked, the air grew heavy, and even the insects went silent. Chike whispered, "Where are we going?" Adis did not look back. To my home. They walked for what felt like hours, though the moon had not moved. Finally, they reached a tall iron gate covered in rust and green vines. No one had lived there for years. But the moment Addis touched it, the gate creaked open by itself. Inside, lanterns glowed faintly, their flames too weak to be real. Shadows moved behind the fence, slow, strange, like people who had forgotten how to walk. At the entrance of the compound sat 3 figures. 2 men and 1 woman. They smiled too widely, their teeth white and shining. Together, they said in flat voices, "Welcome." Chike's chest tightened. He wanted to turn back, but Addis touched his hand. Instantly, warmth spread through his body, and his fear melted like palm oil in fire. His lips even curved into a smile, though his mind screamed. Addis leaned close to his ear. "Come inside." Chike obeyed. The house before him was small and painted grey, with black curtains covering the windows. No chickens scratched the ground. No sound of life at all. Yet, the place felt alive. Addis opened the door. Chike stepped forward. And then he froze. At this moment, Chike had no idea he was stepping into a house that did not belong to the living. What he saw inside would change everything. But before I show you what waited in the shadows, click the subscribe button and join our community. Don't miss the secrets that are about to unfold. The door opened wider, and what Chike saw inside made his blood run cold. The door creaked as Addis pushed it open. The smell that came out was not like smoke, not like food, not like anything Chike had ever known. It was heavy, thick, like the air itself was alive. He stepped in slowly. The house was painted grey inside, with walls cracked in strange lines that almost looked like faces. A small wooden table stood in the center, and a single clay lamp burned with a weak flame that refused to die. There was a bed in the corner, neat but strange. On the walls hung objects Chike did not recognize: cowrie shells, feathers tied with red cloth, broken mirrors that reflected shadows but not his face. Addis smiled and said softly, "This is home." Chike forced a smile, trying to act bold. "Oh, Addis, your house is very different. Where are your people? Where are the children running around? Where are the goats?" Addis looked at him with calm eyes. "They are here." As she said this, the 3 figures he had seen at the gate entered the room silently. They did not blink. They did not speak. They simply sat down by the wall, smiling faintly as if waiting. Chike's body screamed at him to run, but when Addis touched his shoulder, a strange peace washed over him. His fear melted away again, like she had poured palm wine into his blood. She brought him a wooden plate of food. The soup was thick, steaming, but the smell was strange, sweet and bitter at the same time. Chike hesitated, but Addis' voice whispered, "Eat." He took 1 spoonful. It burned his tongue, yet it was smooth. He swallowed, and his eyes grew heavy. His body felt weak. He tried to speak but his lips only formed a lazy smile. Addis pulled the curtain over the bed and said softly, "Rest. You are safe here." Chike lay down. His head spun. His body sank into the bed as if the mattress was pulling him down. He heard Addis humming a lullaby in a language he did not understand. As his eyes closed, he saw something move in the corner of the room. The broken mirror flickered, showing faces of men he had never seen before. Their mouths moved, whispering words he could not hear. Then, everything went black. When Chike opened his eyes again, he thought morning had come. But the lamp still burned with the same weak flame. The 3 figures were still sitting in the same position, smiling at him without blinking. Chike rubbed his eyes. His chest felt heavy. His pocket was empty. His phone was gone. He turned to Addis, who now stood by the window, her black wrapper flowing even though there was no wind. He whispered, "Addis, what is this place?" Addis turned slowly, her eyes glowing faintly. She smiled again. "This is where you belong." At first, Chike thought he had only slept for a few hours. But when he looked at his face in the cracked mirror, he gasped. His beard had grown thick, and his skin looked pale. His clothes, once neat, were now wrinkled like he had worn them for weeks. He rushed to the door and pulled it. It did not open. He pushed harder. The wood was solid like iron. "Adis," he shouted, panic rising in his throat. Adis appeared from the shadows as if she had been waiting. Her wrapper swayed gently, her face calm. "Why are you afraid, Chike?" she asked softly. "You are safe here. Stay with me." Chike's voice trembled. "I need to go home. My mother will be worried. My friends will look for me." Adis stepped closer, touching his lips with one finger. "They will forget you. But I will never forget. I chose you, Chike." The three figures in the room laughed faintly, their smiles stretching wider. Chike's heart pounded. He pulled away, running to the window, but outside he saw only fog. Shadows moved across the yard, tall and thin, their feet not touching the ground. Some paused to look at the house. Others whispered before vanishing into the mist. He turned back to Adis, his chest tight. "What do you want from me?" Adis smiled faintly. "A husband. A father. A soul strong enough to feed the child I carry." Chike froze. "Child? Which child?" Adis touched her belly gently. The wrapper shifted, and for the first time, Chike noticed the swell. A faint movement rippled beneath her skin. "No," he shouted, shaking his head. "This is madness. This is not real." Adis' eyes glowed brighter. "Real? You think breaking women's hearts was not real? You think their tears did not matter? Their pain called me. And you are the price?" Chike's knees weakened. He stumbled back, collapsing onto the wooden chair. His breath came in short gasps. He tried to pray, but the words stuck in his throat like stones. Adis leaned close, her cold breath on his ear. "Stop fighting. You belong here now." Chike shut his eyes tight, whispering, "Mama. Mama." And far away, in Oboyumius, his mother woke suddenly in the middle of the night. She had been dreaming of her son, but in the dream, he was calling her from a house with no windows. She sat up, clutching her chest, tears running down her cheeks. She whispered, "Chike, wherever you are, come home." But Chike did not hear her. He only heard Adis' lullaby filling the room, pulling him deeper into silence. 3 days passed in Oboyumius village, and nobody had seen Chike. His mother, Mama Chike, sat outside her small mud house every evening, her wrapper tied tightly across her chest, staring at the road. At first, neighbors told her not to worry. "Oh, Mama, you know your son. He is probably with one of his girlfriends. He will soon return." But by the 4th day, fear began to spread. Chike was not the kind of man to keep quiet. If he was not in the square, he was in the beer parlor. If not in the beer parlor, he was by the stream, showing off. Now, he was nowhere. Mama Chike lit a small candle in his room every night, praying softly. Her voice cracked, "God of the living, wherever my son is, bring him home." Her daughter, Amora, grew restless. She was younger than Chike by 6 years, but her bond with him was strong. She searched every corner of the village, at Ngozi's hut, at Karamaka's house, even in the farms where lovers sometimes met in secret. Each time, she returned with the same answer: "Nobody has seen him." Meanwhile, Chike's world was different. Inside Adis' compound, time was no longer time. Days and nights blended like mist. The lamp never went out. The 3 figures at the wall never moved, except to smile. Chike had tried to escape twice. The first time, the gate disappeared into fog. The second time, he found himself walking in circles, only to return to the same grey house. One night, he begged Adis, "Please, let me go. My mother is looking for me. I promise I will come back. Adis laughed, her voice soft but sharp. Chike, you are already back. This is your home now. Why do you keep calling on your mother when you have a wife? Chike shook his head violently. You are not my wife. This is madness. Adis' eyes glowed, and her belly moved again, like something alive pressed against her skin. You will change your mind when the child is born. Chike felt a chill climb up his spine. He shut his eyes, whispering his mother's name like a prayer. That same night, Amara had a dream. She saw Chike standing in a foggy compound, looking weak, his hands stretched toward her. Behind him stood a woman in black, holding his shoulder. Amara woke with sweat on her face. She rushed to her mother. Mama! Mama, something is wrong. Chike is not with any girl. He is trapped. I saw him. Mama. Chike trembled. She grabbed her Bible and pressed it to her chest. My son, oh my son. What do we do now? The next morning, Amara and Mama Chike went to see a traveling pastor named Pastor Namdi, who had been holding prayer meetings in the next village. They told him everything: Chike's sudden disappearance, the dreams, the candlelight prayers. Pastor Namdi listened quietly, his eyes closed as if seeing something beyond. Then he spoke. Your son is alive, but he is not among the living. He walks with the dead. If we do not pray, you may never see him again. Mama Chike's knees grew weak. Amara held her as tears rolled down her cheeks. Meanwhile, in the grey house, Adis hummed her strange lullaby while Chike sat in silence, his eyes hollow, his spirit fading. The small church in the neighboring village was quiet except for the crackle of candles. Pastor Namdi stood at the altar, his Bible open, his face serious. Mama Chike knelt in front, tears flowing down her wrinkled cheeks. Amara held her tightly, her own eyes swollen from crying. Pastor Namdi raised his hand. Listen to me. Your son is caught between two worlds. He is not dead, but he is not free. The woman who holds him is not ordinary. She is a spirit bride. Mama Chike gasped, covering her mouth. Amara's voice shook. Then what can we do, Pastor? How do we bring him back? The pastor's voice was firm. There is only one way. We must pray. Not just one day, not just one night. We must pray until the chains break. His life depends on it. That night, the prayers began. At midnight, the pastor poured oil on the ground, lifted his wooden cross, and began to chant scriptures in Igbo and English. Mama Chike wept loudly, calling Chike's name. Amara knelt, her forehead pressed against the floor, whispering psalm after psalm. Far away, in Adis' compound, Chike stirred. His eyes flickered as if waking from a dream. For the first time, Adis' song cracked. She stopped humming and turned sharply, her glowing eyes narrowing. She hissed under her breath, they are calling you. But you are mine. The three smiling figures at the wall twitched, their bodies stiff like puppets. The lamp flickered violently. The ground seemed to hum. Chike gasped for breath. He felt his mother's voice echoing in his ears. He tried to stand, but Adis pressed her hand against his chest, and his body froze. You cannot leave me, she whispered. Her belly moved again, a sharp report that made Chike's stomach turn. Our child needs you. No, Chike's voice cracked. His eyes filled with tears. Mama, help me. The fog outside the compound grew thicker. Shadows pressed closer to the windows. A low wailing sound rose from the mist, like 100 voices crying together. Back in the church, Pastor Namdi shouted louder. Every spirit that has tied down this boy, break by fire. Mama Chike and Amara cried louder, clapping their hands, stamping their feet. The sound of their prayers shook the walls. Suddenly, in the grey house, the lamp burst, sparks flying. Darkness swallowed the room. The three figures began to scream, their smiles twisting into snarls. Chike fell to the ground, his chest pounding, his head spinning. For a moment, he saw a small light far away, like an open door. But Adi's voice cut through the darkness, sharper than a knife. "You will not leave me." Her eyes glowed like fire. She raised her hands, and the ground trembled. Graves outside cracked open, skeletal hands pushing through the soil. Chike screamed, his voice echoing into the night. The ground of Adi's compound shook as the graves cracked wider. The skeletal hands clawed at the soil, pulling half-decayed bodies into the mist. Their hollow eyes turned toward the grey house where Chike lay. Chike's throat tightened. His body refused to move, but his spirit screamed inside him. "No, this cannot be my life. Mama." Adi's laughter cut through the night like a knife. "Do you see them, Chike? These are the ones who serve me. Men like you. Men who played with hearts. Men who thought love was a game. Now, they belong to me." The corpses moved closer, their steps slow, yet each one shook the ground as though drums were beating beneath the soil. Meanwhile, in the small village church, Pastor Namdi's voice grew louder. "Holy fire! Consume every spirit of death that holds this boy." Mama Chike cried until her throat was raw, clutching her son's singlet in her hands. "My child will not die. God, release him." Amora's voice broke as she shouted. "Brother, come back. Come back to us." Back in the grey house, Chike's eyes widened. He heard Amora's cry. He felt his mother's tears, heavy like rain. For one moment, a spark lit in his heart. His legs trembled as he tried to stand. "No!" Adiz roared, her eyes burning red. She raised both hands, and the fog outside thickened into black smoke. The corpses wailed, their mouths stretching wide. The three silent figures in the room rose suddenly, their faces twisting into snarls. They rushed toward Chike, but before they reached him, the wooden cross in Pastor Namdi's hand glowed in the church. A wave of unseen fire spread from the prayers, rushing across the distance between the living and the dead. The three figures burst into dust with screams that shook the walls. Chike gasped, falling to his knees. For a moment, the fog cleared, and he saw the path again. It looked like an open road leading out of the compound. His body leaned forward. His spirit wanted to run. But Adi's hand shot out, grabbing his arm with inhuman strength. Her nails dug deep, glowing faintly like burning coal. "You cannot leave me, Chike. I carried your sins. I carried your pride. I carried your bloodline's weakness. You are mine forever." Chike cried out in pain, his arm burning where she held him. He saw the road fading as if disappearing into mist again. At that exact moment, Amora in the church screamed with all her strength, "Brother, fight. Fight for us." Chike's eyes filled with tears. His lips trembled as he whispered weakly, "Mama. Amora. I. The compound trembled. Adi's belly shifted violently, as though something inside was desperate to come out. Her face twisted, no longer calm, no longer beautiful, half her skin turned pale as ash, half burned like fire. She screamed, a sound so loud that even in the church, Mama Chike covered her ears. And then, the lamp inside the grey house exploded into sparks, filling the compound with light.
Shiki fell to the ground, Adias still clutching him, her scream echoing into the mist. The sparks from the broken lamp filled Adias' house with blinding light. Shiki shielded his eyes, trembling on the floor. The three figures were gone. The corpses outside wailed, their voices fading as smoke swallowed them. But Adias did not fall. Her grip on Chike's arm tightened. Her belly moved violently, as if something inside clawed for freedom. Her voice cracked like thunder. "You cannot take him. He is mine." Her skin split in places, revealing shadows crawling beneath. Her beauty melted away, leaving behind a creature half woman, half spirit. Cheek sobbed, his voice weak. Mama, Amara, please. Back in the church, Mama Cheeky screamed louder than ever, banging the floor with her fists. My son will not die in darkness. God, bring him back. Amara's voice joined hers. Pastor Nyamdi's prayers shook the ground. The wooden cross glowed brighter, heat filling the small church. At that moment, Chike felt the chains in his spirit begin to loosen. His eyes cleared. He saw the road again, bright this time, like a path of fire. He tried to crawl toward it, but a daze pulled harder. Her voice split into many, 100 voices crying together. You broke many hearts, Cheek. You fed me with their pain. Without you, I cannot survive. Without you, the child will die. Chika turned his head, tears streaming down his cheeks. Then let it die. I cannot stay here with all the strength left in him. He screamed his mother's name. Mama! The church shook violently. The candles burst into flames. Pastor Namdi raised the cross high, shouting, Every covenant of death, break. A roar thundered through the night. In Adaz's compound, the ground split. The fog tore apart. Adaz shrieked, her body twisting, her belly tearing as black smoke poured out. Her form flickered between a broken young woman and a monstrous figure. No, she cried, her glowing eyes fading. You will regret this, Chika. You cannot escape me forever. With a final scream, she burst into ashes, carried away by the wind. Chika collapsed on the ground, gasping for air. The fog lifted. The gate of the compound stood open. For the first time, he felt the cool night breeze. Slowly, he walked out. Back in the church, Mama Cheek fainted from exhaustion. Amara caught her, weeping. Mama, it is done. He is free. Pastor Namdi lowered the cross, sweat covering his face. His voice was tired but firm. He is free, but not whole. The spirit world has touched him. He will never be the same again. Chiki returned home weak, his skin pale, his eyes hollow. People whispered in the village. Some said he had traveled to the land of the dead and returned. Others said he had married a ghost. He spoke little. At night, he woke screaming from dreams of Adaiz's face. Sometimes, he swore he heard her lullaby in the wind. Mama Chiki never left his side. Amara guarded him like a shadow. Pastor Namdi visited often, continuing prayers. But deep in the night, in a lonely forest far from Oba Umueze, a faint cry echoed, like a baby's cry, and a woman's voice whispered softly, I will return. My people, this story is more than fear. It is a warning. Love is not a game, and broken hearts do not sleep forever. Chaik thought his charm was harmless until it chained him to the world of the dead. This tale reminds us every choice has a price, and sometimes the price is our soul. If this story touched you, share it with someone today. Comment what you think about Chike's fate. Do you believe Adaiz will return? Together, let us keep our hearts clean, our homes prayed over, and our spirits awake. Because some doors, once opened, are never truly closed.